So this is take two. This is take two. I The other live stream was basically it was a volume issue. I was not There was no audio. So apparently the saga it continues. All right, so this is fresh out the press. About 16 hours ago. Don't know if this is true or not, but apparently I was wrong about Sexy Red, and it gets very it is I was very wrong about Sexy Red. Apparently, Sexy Red is a CIA operative since 2018. That is what they are saying right here. CIA operative. Okay. Now, basically, the CIA just uses assets. If they need you, and you know whatever reason, they can use you. Right. That's how that works. So it's not hard to believe. Gloria Steinem, the founder of the feminist movement, was a CIA operative. In case you didn't know that, if that's hard for you to believe, Gloria Steinem, the founder of this feminist movement, was a CIA operative. But I was so fucking wrong. I was so fucking wrong. Now this is not. This is basically a fucking picture. I don't know if this is true or not, but it's not fucking far fetched at this point. Now people were saying that she's a CIA operative, but I was pretty much kind of looking at it from a joke, or I thought people were joking, but apparently no. Uh, this is fucking possibly true here. Okay, so let me see here. But we do know, which is very true, that Gloria Steinem, the founder of the feminist movement, women's lib movement, was a CIA operative. And here's the thing: women don't care about this shit. That's the thing. Like, they don't give a fuck. People gonna still be listening to bow, 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 bow. They say her fucking operation, her name was Operation Bow Bow. Like, her agent name was Bow Bow, basically. They still gonna be listening to this bullshit. That's all. I mean, they still gonna listen to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter. They still gonna listen to this shit. Look at this shit. This Gloria Steinem, the founder of the feminist movement, pretty much.
Gloria, at the festival, you worked for service.
That's right.
Well, exactly when did your own association with the CIA start, and in what fashion? Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
In 1958, when I came home from India, I discussed with student leaders, past and present, many of them active with the National Student Association, this kind of small foundation to encourage Americans to go. I was then told by foundations and professors and friends that I should not do this, that I would get in trouble with the House Un-American Activities Committee, the American Legion, all of those 50s people. And I became convinced that it was impossible. It was at that point that the student leaders said to me, that they had in the past received funds for international programs from the CIA, and that they felt that this was important and could also be partly funded by the CIA.
Well, I mean, did you feel that you really tried? I mean, did you go around to all of the wealthy private foundations, wealthy private people, and explain your point of view and explain why you felt it was important that the United States be represented at these things in a certain way? What did they tell you?
They told me that, well, the Ford Foundation, for instance, told me that they thought we were too liberal and too controversial, and that we would endanger their cultural programs in Austria. And the first festival was being held in Vienna. It was not encouraging at all. And the private individuals to whom I went often had particular points of view to put forward, which would have been much, much more restricting than the CIA funds were, which were free. I mean, no one was told what to say.
You mean they were free? You mean to say it was easier for you to work for the CIA than a private organization?
That's right. And the reason I think that comes as a surprise, as it did to me at the time. I mean, I had the conventional liberals' view of the CIA as a right-wing incendiary group, and I was amazed to discover that this was far from the case, that they were enlightened, liberal, nonpartisan activists of the sort who characterized the Kennedy administration, for instance.
You have not been working now for the CIA since 1962.
Mm.
You still criticize. You were down recently in Washington?
Yes, when the story broke that I had once been, that I have for 4 years been a Central Intelligence agent, I was demonstrating outside the Pentagon underneath Mr. McNamara's office against bombing in Vietnam. And this didn't precisely fit with the image of a CIA agent, but then neither does the CIA.
I want you to, when you get time, you know what? I'm gonna play that back. I'm gonna play that back. Hold on. Now I just want you to play that back. That the last 5 seconds, the last 10 seconds of that interview. You know, I want you to play that back. Yeah, every time I talk about some very, very poignant stuff, I get you know, let's see here. Okay. Let's see, we got okay. All right. Yeah, so I want you to play that back, man. The last 10 seconds of that interview. But yeah, man, they saying Sexy Red is a CIA operative. You know what I'm saying? I just woke up to this shit, man. I just woke up to this shit. I'm like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I was gonna edit the other video that I did the other day, the other night or last night, and I'm like, man, the plot thickens. The fucking plot thickens, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what they want. They want your children to be ratchet. They want them to be fucking sexual deviants, hookers. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going on, bro. What's going on? This is what they want for your future. They want this, and they're willing to fucking push this shit. It's not hard to fucking believe. I just showed you the fucking founder of the feminist movement. Everybody knew, you know, she was a CIA agent. That's old news. This is not hard. This is not hard to believe. You know, Operation Bow Bow. That's Sexy Red Operation, aka Bow Bow, Agent Bow Bow. You know what I'm saying? This is not hard. So you see how hard they tried to fucking keep you ghettofied, pushed to prison, because that's what rap music is. Rap music is prison music, slave catcher music. That's what I mean. Not all rap. I'm not saying J. Cole is slave catcher music. It's some rappers that's very conscious. I mean, Common Sense from Chicago, Common. But you got to understand, the Operation Bow Bows, right? The Nardo Wicks, these people, man, are fucking destroying people's motherfucking lives, man. A motherfucking little YN or whatever. Here's some Nardo Wick talking about, spray the block, right? They gonna go get their gun and spray the fucking block. They gonna listen to this shit while they going to go spray the fucking block. That's what you gotta understand, and that's the hard. Ooh, man, Now I'm not saying that. Okay, black people are very good at killing, right? Black people are very, very highly skilled at warfare. That's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you. You want a fucking government secret? There you go, motherfucker. The military, the power of the U.S. military is black power. The U.S. Army is primarily black. That's why people in the military. That's why black people go to the military to get power, because basically the government uses black men and women to basically uphold their power structure. We are their fiercest weapon. That's the secret for you. There you go. Now you see. Now you know. So when you walk around and you think you're not powerful and shit like that because you're brainwashed, I'm letting you know right now, a person that's ex-military, ex-war veteran that been inside the military, that basically, there you go. Black people are government assets for the U.S. military. We won wars. Our grandfathers helped win wars. We are the most fiercest fighters on planet Earth. They used to kidnap Africans in Africa to go fight for World War II. And basically they helped win some of the most fiercest battles in basically the Asian campaign and basically primarily Borneo in Japan. But hold on, let me walk this down. Let me walk this down here. I mean, so this is a different live stream than last night. The report there of Sexy Red being an agent. But here we go. Let's see here. Let's play this here. Let's play this here. Yeah, because this is very very relevant, very relevant. Let me play this here, because see, y'all don't understand this shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't understand this shit, man. Here,
I believe a lot of these A&Rs are slave catchers to me. A lot of them in the rap game.
And it's that like part. You selling your people to slavery, like it's going to the master. DIY.
And now we're back with content that could possibly get this channel taken away again. Whenever we get to talking about this independent talk, there's certain powers that be, I think, that get a little bit angry when we do this. And not because we're talking about things from our own opinion, but when you use people who are of that industry, have found success in that industry, who are rooted in that industry, who say it for you, there's nothing more effective I could tell you from my damn self. I'm just reacting, don't mind me. Terrence Martin, legendary musician, producer, artist. Many of you probably know him more so from his work that he's done with Kendrick Lamar on To Pimp a Butterfly. But he said something. It talks about why he believes that modern day A&Rs are slave catchers.
I believe a lot of these A&Rs are slave catchers to me. A lot of them in the rap game, and I firmly say that. I say that proudly.
Yeah.
I'll tell them that. They know I know that. They know who I am. And it's all love. The only rappers I work with are the ones I truly love and really understand good, fair business. And good, fair business is whatever we agree upon. Once you disrespect that, you can't call me your friend. You can't call me your true business associate. At that point, you got to call me your enemy.
Right, because you're doing me dirty.
Yeah, so that's I'd rather just stay with my folks or work with people that get that, you know.
You doing my kids dirty.
You doing my kids dirty.
Like me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Deeper than that.
And that's the thing, man. We go out, people call us to do these records. You know, we save these motherfuckers, man. We save them.
Let's unpack.
A&Rs are slave catchers to me.
Slavery times, in which he's alluding to, these slave catchers who didn't always have to be someone who looked the opposite of the slave that they're hunting, could very well be from the same culture, could very well look just exactly like the person that they're hunting, would be assigned to go find people to put in this slavery system. He's calling the A&Rs out for playing that role in which they bring in or they hunt down vulnerable artists who they know are in situations where they need the finances. They know they're in situations where they don't know any better about business, and they go and they actively and purposely hunt out independent artists, independent producers, and many times DIYers.
And it's all love. The only rappers I work with are the ones I truly love and really understand good, fair business.
The rappers I work with are the ones that only truly understand good and fair business. And we're going to have a conversation about what that actually means before we actually work with one another. Because we can be friends who have completely different ethics. We could even have some of the same morals, but completely different ethics when it comes to business. You may feel like friendships are not to be involved in business, and that may be your approach. I may feel like, no, my success has come from operating in which I could say that I genuinely love and trust the people that I do business with.
And good, fair business is whatever we agree upon. Once you disrespect that, you can't call me your friend. You can't call me your true business associate. At that point, you got to call me your enemy.
Is he wrong? Some people may think he's extreme for calling these people enemies, but if you come into this situation, I know business is business, and I know that term even means something to everybody a little bit different. But if we are doing business, and I love and respect you, and we are agreeing upon fair business, why would you ever want to see me in a situation? Like, I understand wanting to get more out of the pie. Why would you want to put me in a place in which I am so disadvantaged that I am in debt because of this deal we've done with each other? How can anyone look at that and say it's just business? How could that person sleep at night? And maybe this is the reason why I'm not that great at business, but I cannot look myself in the mirror knowing that I have strategically manipulated people into giving me everything just because I knew better than them. And if that means there's a ceiling on the amount of money that I can make as a DIYer, well, shit, I'll take that. I can live with that decision, because it means that I'm going to be operating only in business in which I trust the other party. And if the trust is broken, we were going to find that out anyways. It's funny how we want to separate friendship and we want to separate all this terminology. It's just business. It's just business. But yet businesses hang their hat within their mission statements on being trustworthy. On being those who do fair business. But when business is involved, no, you got to get that emotion shit up out of here. Anytime human beings are involved, emotions are going to be involved. Nothing is devoid of emotions except for robots. And they even trying to fix that with this AI.
Right, because you're doing me dirty.
Yeah, so that's I'd rather just stay with my folks or work with people that get that, you know.
You doing my kids dirty.
That right there. Shout out to Robert Glasper. Not only you doing me dirty, you doing my kids dirty. How can I have you in my household, businessman? How can I have you in my household, businessman? You willing to take more out of a pie for what I could provide for them? What if something happened to me? I wish you guys the best. I put a little bit in your GoFundMe. These people don't give a shit. Not just industry, these people in general who demand so much sacrifice of you, DIY, willing to pay the amount of time that you're willing to yourself. This is why, for me, the answer is a hell no. And what I'm building, and I pray that you believe in what you are building, even if it doesn't look that impressive to you or anybody else. I hope that you believe that saying no to these opportunities, you would say, if you do, yes, I'm not going to just be in any less, but just right now what you do for people in the name of expanding, you got to always come back to build what you started. To double down on this, there's a portion portion of this interview here talks on this same topic.
Know your worth, man. Like, know what we doing. We've been telling people for 11 years since we got on this show. What we have is art. And you can look at Christie's and Sotheby's. People be selling shit for 25 million,
right?
Feeding their face.
Aspect, like, it's your life. You selling your and that's what makes this shit fucked up, because there's some black people in some of these labels, and it's like you selling your to slavery, like, you know, it's going to the master.
If you copy from one source, it's considered plagiarism. When you copy from two sources or more than two sources, it's considered research. In this scenario, I just had two artists say the same terminology, but we're seeing an overlappage in the terminology. And I know that's not by mistake.
You know, and you still trying to bring a nigga here and have them sign that deal.
And those be the worst ones.
Crazy. The worst ones.
The worst ones.
You got to remember, they got bosses and they in jeopardy of losing that. And that's the difference. They willing to sell their own people back into slavery for what? For a salary. It's not cool. It's not good. They will really put them deals in front of you, and they know it's bad. Tell you how innovative you are, how creative, how amazing you are, and then slide that shit to you. They don't even call you and tell you that. They gonna slide it to you upside down, because they know they playing with you.
You'll have people along your journey, I've seen it firsthand, that will tell you anything your artistic heart wants to hear. They'll tell you anything your producer heart wants to hear. They'll tell you what you've always wanted to hear that industry say about your music. And you'll feel like, yeah, I feel the same exact way. But the folks who are selling you on that also are trying to sell you on something. You gather what I'm getting at? They feel like they have to sell you on it because they're selling you something. Your exchange of energy, of work, of your time could never add up to what they're going to make up on the other end to profit off of that said work that you did. And there are people that are strategically sent to you who talk like you, who might have even been a producer before one time in their lifetime, who might have been an artist before in their lifetime. And they know exactly, hey boss, I know what to say to him. I know where he's at right now. I remember being 19 and wanting to make music. I got this. I'll get him to sign the deal. No matter how much it is not to the advantage of the artist, no matter how lopsided of a deal it is, no matter how much they pose it as a partnership and it's not a partnership, there are people who are willing to do that because they got to make a living too. That's their excuse. It's just unfortunate how many of those folks end up looking like us. I say us, even though all of us are from different creeds, different sexes, different races, because it happens all across the board. It happens to bands. It happens to artists. It happens to rappers. It happens to producers. It happens to whatever you are. That system is not set up for you to win. Not until the people that have set up the system have won so much. You know what? I think you're worthy of getting more of the pie of the work that you've done. Or until these folks decide.
And you can't talk about the music industry then, basically, not talking about Kanye West and, basically what he said about the industry, and that being exactly true with, basically the propaganda that's being pushed, you know what I'm saying? You can't talk about that, you know what I'm saying, and not pretty much bring these things up, right? And not talk about Kanye. All right, there we go.
Where is a black guy that has a Jewish person signed to him? Point it out. Tell me that. Where's a black person that's signed to a Jewish person? All of them. Where is a black guy that has a Jewish person signed to him? Point it out. Tell me that. Where's a black person that's signed to a Jewish person that to him?
That's like a clip or something like that. You know, I don't even know why that meathead would even put that out there. But
and then the algorithm. You know what I'm saying? The 808. The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency. Right. And now today, every time I hear a car coming out, it's 808. But if you think about African music and hip hop and we was breakdance to, it was light. The percussion. It was up.
Let's see here, man.
You're pretty offensive towards a lot.
I'm not looking to be offensive. I really want to bring people together and get these sales done.
But the word, 100%, I see your vision.
How do we do that?
Somebody care? Well, don't say Jewish media and Jewish controlled media.
JM.
Like, man, you sound like it sounds too much like 1930s Nazi Germany that was leading up to the atrocities.
Oh, he would say JM?
Yeah, he was branded JM. That's right. No, it's just the implied, like this memeified prejudice towards a group in a way that's going to lead to hate. And I know you don't mean that. I know you have love in your heart. That's
what's a prejudice towards a group that led to hate? BLM. Because, okay, there are examples of us being killed on camera, but if it was spread on camera, it was done on purpose by the media. Because 14, 20 kids get killed in Chicago every week, and it's not spread that much. They, like you said, singled out a person, directed everything on that person, right, as the martyr, and raised the people that hadn't had any. We didn't have our 40 acres and a mule. We didn't have, like a lot of things, right, like that Black people have not ever been given. So once we're given just a little bit, like your life matters, right?
And then you got to understand, man, I believe in karma, right? So basically, they're in charge of the BLM, right? They bought mansions with that blood money, right? Their blood sacrifice money, right? They bought mansions, right? Buying large mansions, BLM, right? Well, that last Hollywood fire, that fire in LA, it burned 2 of them mansions, I believe. I think she had 3 of them. 2 of them got burned up. And I don't know if she had insurance or not, but I hope to high heavens that she didn't have insurance on them 2 mansions.
Then we literally like, oh, okay, now we're being right. But actually the death toll is up. The city where this happened is completely been turned to a war zone. It's actually something like Candace Owens can actually specify this better, but it's like its own city or something. Like they made it not be a part of the actual state or something. It's like DC and So it's like Washington D.C. now and stuff like, and that be from a government, that's got high level agenda written all over it.
Yeah, they're using the death of an individual. Yeah, sure. The media are not the Jewish media, the media, that's the media is fucked up. That machine takes whatever tragedy and pushes it towards whatever narrative that gets more clicks and views and so on. Sure, and then politicians do the same. They use.
So this is how you deal with this, right? This is how you deal with this, right? Okay. Very, very, very easy to deal with this. I don't have to try hard to deal with this shit, man. You probably seen this shit already, bro. You already seen this shit, man. It's nothing. It ain't fucking difficult. It is not difficult at all. All right. It is very, very easy to debunk this. All right, let's go here. All right, hold on. Here you go. Very easy. Bow, 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 bow. There you go. Now you can't really see the let me see if I can zoom this in. Nah, it won't zoom in. Those are all like the blue star of David, which indicates that these executives are Jewish. Okay, CNN, NBC, New York Times, CBS. Okay, these are very, very major media platforms, all pretty much ran heavily controlled by Jewish individuals. There you go. So when people say, they try to say stuff, pressure you to push a certain narrative, that's what live streams and other, basically videos that basically point out things in real time, because nobody will sit back and like really research who record execs are and all of that. Like people do put in certain efforts and time that you kind of point that out, it's very obvious, right? Jewish people, like other people, they look out for each other. They hire people, they hire themselves, they give each other loans with no interest. They basically all keep it in the pot, keep it in the family, keep it in the Knesset, right? It's very, very, very simple. They basically have, they use the power of unity 1,000%.
The media, that influence the media to tell a story. And
this is a simple thing. I believe that the idealness of the whole.
I have to point out that fucking Kanye West outfit looking like he just dropped drywall and mudded and taped and primed and did some priming all in one day. It's just absolutely hilarious. I just have to point that out.
Holocaust is used by certain individuals in media to not take accountability for the bad things that are happening. And what's happening is there's the new frontier, right? Meaning like it used to be okay for somebody to be a billionaire. We thought about a billionaire, right? A lot of times you think of them actually kind of being out of shape, and 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like Onassis or something, like you thought about it a different way. Now you think about a billionaire, you think about Elon, you think Kim, think Ye, you think it's a new kind of billionaire. It's not just Soros is a billionaire. It's a new form of billionaire. Well, right now, what I'm calling for the industry is I'm calling the industry out and saying like, hey, it just so happens that there's been times where I had my lawyer was Jewish, my regulator was Jewish, but like 8 people that basically would collude and talk without me were in groups saying, okay, this is what the tour is going to be. This is his next house. And they were making all these decisions and they're making all this money. And at the end, I was like, I ended my tour and I don't have the money. And it just so happens that that's the case, that what they were. But what I'm saying is, if everyone can say, hey, you can't point out this fact, or we're going to say you're anti-Semitic and we're going to call you Hitler, I feel that there has to be at least 1% of safeguarding the ability to screw the artist based on saying it's anti-Semitic by pointing out that they just so happen to all be Jewish. And I don't think that's anti-Semitism. I just think that's, hey, this is another thing. Like, okay, the Kardashians, when you hear that, do you think male or do you think female? You think female. You get what I'm saying? You think this is the realities. This is why rap works, right? They're going to make an anti-women thing in a second, right? And it's going to say, well, if you point out that these 6 women are having a meeting on where the Christmas party is, and none of the ball players or rappers that they have babies with have any say so that Christmas happened at Courtney's house all 8 years when I was there, and it not anyone's black.
I just, this this man, he probably one of the best persons to fare better dealing with the Kardashians. It's between him and Tiger. They probably need to be researched because Lamar Odom did not fare well. Other men, you got to research the men that have dealt with the Kardashians and how they fared off. I mean, we all know about Kendall, or is it Kendall Jenner, or no. The dude, basically the patriarch of the house, he just basically turned into a drag queen. Yeah, the men that dealt with the Kardashians, those man eaters, I call them man eaters. They didn't fare well. Let's play this here, and then basically let's get this going. Right here, let's play this. Let's see what this guy's talking about. See what this man is talking about here.
Communities such as the celebrities, actors, and the entertainers from the lowest rung of the ladder came to be the most influential members to the Black community. Why are they there, and what caused them to get to that spot? The explanation comes from professor and sociologist Dr. E. Fraser Franklin in his 1957 book titled Black Bourgeoisie. And as we go through this explanation, I want you to listen very carefully, because what we're going to go on is a journey. And in this journey, we're going to deal with some backstory on Black American culture. And all this is going to lead us to our final destination of answering this question. But I need you to go through the full journey in order to get the understanding. And so once you understand this history, then it'll no longer be a mystery. And so let's go in here to page 113, where it says this: there have been only 2 really vital cultural traditions in the social history of the Negro in the United States. One being the genteel tradition of the small group of mulattoes who assimilated the morals and manners of the slave-holding aristocracy. So the first of the two notable black traditions was the gentile tradition, which placed high value on conventional family life, sexual purity, manners, education, and so forth. And this tradition was learned from the slave-holding aristocracy or the nobility or the elite or the upper class slaveholders, right? And so this small group of mostly mulattoes took their culture from these people. And keep in mind that it says small because most of the blacks didn't have this culture. So this was one of the cultures. Let's continue. And the other, the culture of the black folk who gave the world the spirituals, which is the culture which developed as an adaptation to the slave environment. The first small group had the mind of the slaveholder, and the second mass group had the mind of the slave, right? Let's continue. The gentile tradition, or the one that came from this aristocracy, flourished especially in such large communities of free mulattoes as those in Charleston, South Carolina, and New Orleans, Louisiana. It was maintained by those mulatto families that had acquired as part of their family traditions the patterns of behavior which were associated with the ideal of the Southern lady and Southern gentleman. Some families took pride in the fact that a mulatto ancestor could not be distinguished in his physical appearance, dress, manners, and speech from his white half-brother. And they had these thoughts because they had bought into the idea that the traditional European features were superior to all the others. And so, in other words, they believed this to be true. Let's continue. As a rule, these families formed a closed circle from which were excluded all who could not boast of similar ancestry and did not conform to the same standards of morals and manners. They were exceedingly self-conscious of their culture, which consisted of the enjoyment of English and, in Louisiana, French classical literature and music. Sometimes they maintained literary societies in which they could enjoy and foster their culture. Many of these families migrated before the Civil War to the north, where they formed a small upper class that boasted of its gentile traditions. After the Civil War, the free mulatto class continued to hold itself aloof from the masses of freedmen. The Civil War ended in 1865, and by that time, the masses of blacks were no longer legally enslaved. And the Negroes with the gentile culture, they were trying to distance themselves from the masses because at that point, they were culturally different people. Let's continue. In Louisiana, the hostility of some members of this class to the newly emancipated blacks was so great that they opposed giving political rights to the freedmen. But generally, the free mulatto class and its descendants assumed as far as possible positions of leadership among the Negro masses. They did not break down the traditional barriers to easy social intercourse and marriage. Even in their religious affiliations, the descendants of the free mulattoes held aloof from the Negro masses. They generally affiliated with the Episcopal, Congregational, Presbyterian, and Catholic churches, while the Negro masses, as we have seen, were affiliated with the Baptist and Methodist churches. The descendants of the free mulattoes became, after the Civil War, the core of a small class which undertook to maintain the American pattern of family life and conventional sex mores. So the offspring of this class looked to maintain the values that they had developed over the years. And this was one of the reasons that they kept a distance from the Negro masses. Because if they would have started mingling closely with the Negro masses, then their culture would have been compromised, especially being that there were more in numbers coming from the Negro masses who were the carriers of the slave mindset. Let's continue. In some small communities in the South, a single family with this social and cultural background would live in complete isolation rather than associate with the masses of Negroes. And why was that? For the reason we just went over. In their quiet, obscure lives, they expressed often their contempt for the black upstarts who, in their view, and often in fact, possessed neither morals nor manners. And again, this is why they attempted to separate themselves from the Negro masses, who had a very different set of morals and manners. And this is how people have always separated themselves before the European colonizer came along and started lumping people into these very large groups like black, white, Asian, and so forth, right? Groups that never initially agreed to be lumped in there together. Let's continue. The attitudes of those who came to terms with the successful members of the rising black masses was expressed by a young mulatto college student who was a descendant of a prominent free mulatto family. When asked how she felt when a big, ill-mannered Negro male student addressed her rudely and tossed her about, replied, "Well, since I've got to live with these N-words, I might as well act like one." So now at this point, we have members of the Negro masses who were attending school with other members from the mulatto class, and there was conflict. The mulatto class was stuck with the Negro mass, and we can see the frustration coming from this student here. And I'm pretty sure the Negro masses didn't like them either, right? Let's continue. On the whole, the tradition of the gentleman has ceased to have influence on either the manners or morals of the Negro community. The tradition they had stopped having influence on the Negro community, and later on we're going to find out exactly why, because it ties into the main topic of this video. In the Negro colleges, it is futile for teachers to exhort the students to behave like ladies and gentlemen. Futile means pointless. And why was it futile or pointless to get the Negro students to behave like ladies and gentlemen? Because at this point, the Negro had begun to take over. And the culture that they carried was nothing like genteel culture that some of the mulatto class had. So from here, let's understand some of the background coming from the Negro masses developed out of his experiences on American soil. Whatever element of African culture might have survived enslavement became merged with the Negro's experience in the new environment and lost their original meaning. The Negro was made in America, right? From the language, the food, the thinking, the dancing, the songs, right? Fraser from Africa was merged into this new environment and it lost its original meaning, right? So a new culture and a new people were created from this completely different experience. Let's continue. From the beginning, the Negro had to learn the language of his master. And there was no chance to, for example, along the coast of South Carolina and Georgia and the neighboring islands. The character which the Negro family acquired under the system of slavery was due to the exigencies of servitude rather than surviving African patterns of behavior. Exigencies meaning what was needed in a situation. So the character of the Negro family, which included the woman heading the house, was needed under the system of American slavery, and it was not something that was of African origin. In a situation where no legal recognition of family existed, the dominant position of the woman in the Negro family was due to the concession that had to be made to the needs of the children.
Now, if you really wanted to take a deep dive into the culture of Black America, E. Franklin Frazier's books will give you that deep dive. A lot of the issues that are going on now that he talked about back in the 1940s and 50s. This book, The Black Bourgeoisie, and also he had another book which was called, I believe, Dark Ghettos. I think that was Franklin E. Frazier. Let me confirm that. I'm pretty sure that was him. Dark Ghetto. Let's see here. No, Dark Ghettos was by Tommy Shelby. So E. Franklin Frazier, he wrote basically. No, it's called Dark Ghettos. Dark Ghettos. And it's by Thomas Shelby. Tommy Shelby. So E. Franklin Frazier wrote the book Black Bourgeoisie. But okay, if you get Black Bourgeoisie, you got to get Dark Ghettos by Tommy Shelby, because Tommy Shelby basically wrote the book Dark Ghettos, and he talks about it's basically a lot of the things that he talk about is like why you got some black people that would prefer to live in the ghetto. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm all in on my project. I don't really have the means to really, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't gonna personalize this shit. Let me just get up out of there. But I'll just say this. It's people in Gary, Indiana that have the money to live in upper middle class white neighborhoods. They do not want to do that. They have the credit, they have the capital, they got the money, they got the income. They would prefer, as much as I know a lot of you like, man, as soon as I say Gary, Indiana, your brain just fucking blows up. Like you like, what the fuck? God damn. How the fuck do you deal with all of that shit? You gotta understand, you don't know Gary, Indiana. I still haven't did the tour. I haven't did any, you know, I maybe have to do my own documentary. But the thing is this. There's mixed, Gary, Indiana is a mixed socioeconomic city. That is what you don't know because you're being pushed propaganda that they're showing you the worst parts of Gary, Indiana. That's what they're doing. They're showing you because the good parts don't get that much views. Like they show you the nice parts of Gary, Indiana, they don't really get that many views. The views go from seeing the abandoned properties. I literally I caught it in real time. I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna screenshot it and all of that, and I'm gonna put it into some type of video probably in the not too distant future. Because I caught it in real. I caught it in 3D basically real time. Uh, the people that do these photos, they got drone footage and all of that. The guy said on Facebook, yeah, I post the nice stuff, but they don't get the views. So the views, the videos that get the views are the abandoned properties, the blighted, properties and stuff like that. So here's the thing. Gary, Indiana, I'm not gonna say is a fairy tale story. It is a lot of blight, it's a lot of abandoned properties. A lot of people are actually fixing these abandoned properties up like myself and making profit off of them. So it's a good thing. I mean, I still, I don't understand why people will pass up money and opportunity, but I couldn't afford to do so. The thing is this. The point is you have black people in Gary, Indiana, that they would rather deal with all of the Gary, Indiana's problems. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've said it before. Gary, Indiana has a few problems, quite a few problems. One of them is violence, shootings. They have a bad infrastructure. They have bad roads, very bad roads, potholes, a lot of abandoned properties, and unemployment, and quite a bit of poverty. They would rather deal with all of that than live amongst white people. And that is the types of things that they talk about in this book here, Black Bourgeoisie by E. Franklin Frazier, and Dark Ghettos by Tommy Shelby. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You got black people that they are scared of white people. They don't want to deal with white people at all. They would rather separate themselves from white people, and they have the money to live around them. To live in better neighborhoods and even better housing structures. They would prefer to just live around other black people, even in a poor situation or a poorer neighborhood or a lower graded neighborhood, because they just don't want to have to deal with all of, like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. White people can be very intimidating if you don't really know how to deal with them. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of black people have not been really around white people because they haven't went to maybe a college or a university, and they have not really dealt, like a lot of people, they only had to deal with white people in college and university, and not every black person goes to college and university, so they don't really They don't. They really a lot. You got a lot of black people that have never really mixed in with white people in the sense of they've never had friends or interactions much with white people other than at a store or at work or something like that. They, you know, it's like basically in my personal case, um, I've had way more interactions because because basically my upbringing. So I mean, it's not. I don't have that logic. Like that's do I want to be? Here's my thing. Do I want to be in an all-white suburb? No, I don't think I want to deal with that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've said this before. All white, like meaning the population of black people is less than 10% or even 1%. Like, I'll tell you, like Lake Forest, Illinois. Lake Forest, Illinois is one of the most wealthiest suburbs in Illinois. It is the population of black people is like definitely less than 10%. I would deal with it because Lake Forest has some of the best architectural, historically built homes in America. And I know that because I basically went to school for construction because I knew I wanted to be in real estate. Now, the thing is that I would buy one of those properties and not give two fucks because just like Mr. T actually did. Mr. T used to live in Lake Forest, Illinois. A lot of celebrities live in Lake Forest, Illinois. The Bulls players, Bears players, baseball players. Now, will I do that? Basically, the reason I would do it is primarily because of the architectural, basically the real estate, and all of the amenities that come with living in the city. Now, it's particular cities I would do that. I would break that rule. But for the most part, as far as looking at raising children and all of that type of stuff, I wouldn't do that. I would prefer a mixed or somewhat mixed environment where maybe it's more than 10% black people in the fucking whole city or whatever. Because you got to understand, I mean, when you're going into that type of environment where it's less than 10%, even if it's over 10%, you're going to be looked at, you're going to be harassed, you're going to be what I mean by harassed is they're going to treat you differently than they treat other people. They might even harass you like when you go in the store and stuff like that. But you got to understand, I am an elite black person as far as I am highly educated, highly self-educated. So I know how to check white people. Other black people do not know how to check white people. I know their history, more than a lot of times they do. So I know how to check white people. Other people don't know how to check them. And also, um, I've been around white people. I've been around, like I said, I was in the U.S. military. I was around white people that were in high ranks of power, high positions of power, high positions of authority. So I am not necessarily saying that I'm just this, Superman, black man, and I'm just hear me roar. I'm just saying I'm not. I look at myself in a perspective that these people are very similar to me. They're humans. They don't have superpowers other than maybe they can tolerate cold a little bit more than I can. Um, I mean, other things, but I don't look at them like, okay, I'm just so scared of white people. I don't have that notion, and they don't usually have that around black people. But they don't really like living around black people, to be honest. I mean, um, and certain reasons why. Um, I'll just say basically a lot of those reasons is primarily due to the fact that they don't really want their children mixing in with black people. But the thing is this: you got to understand. my whole point is you got black people that have the means to get out of a particular neighborhood. They do the same thing in Chicago as well. They have the means to get out of a particular neighborhood, but they don't do it because they are afraid of white people. They are intimidated by white people. So I'm gonna play. I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna play this other video here. And this is like I think this is black people in LA that they are talking about the great migration of black people coming out of the South, moving into the North, and then also they moved into LA. So let's play this here. Let's see here.
Negroes are moving into Los Angeles a month. By 1970, there'll probably be 1 million Negroes in this city. And I know that people are concerned about.
Now here's the thing, right? You like, damn, these motherfuckers is they so damn uppity and bougie. And look at what's going on right now with the rolling 60s, Big U, and all of the things that's had happened in the last 20 years with LA. I've never even been to LA, but LA seems like a very intimidating place to be, man. People trying to extort you. They trying to intimidate you. You can't wear nothing. You got to walk around butt naked in LA because everything's a game. You can't wear a White Sox hat. You can't wear an Indian hat. You can't wear a fucking hat because it's so gang related. Because primarily one of the reasons why Los Angeles is so gang related, they warring with the Mexicans. The Mexican border is very close to Los Angeles, and the blacks and the Hispanics primarily are warring at each other. And then you got intercultural warfare with, the Crips and the Bloods and all of the other different sets and all of that. And then you got another aspect of Los Angeles, which is Los Angeles is actually the second wealthiest city in America. It's second only to LA. Actually, LA and New York are you will see a model or actress or they'll have on their Instagram profile New York and LA because they're working both New York and LA because they're the entertainment capital of America, of the world. Actually, all of the films, most of the films, the film directors, film producers, film studios is in New York and LA. Billions and billions of dollars are made from film from New York and LA. LA is, basically with Silicon Valley, they are basically one of, and then you got the borders. The border with Mexico. A lot of narcotics is being pushed from the border of Mexico into California, into Arizona, and so forth. So you got the narco capital coming in. Then you got the ports, the West Coast ports that go from China and Japan and Asia right off of the coast of California. So you have the seaports. So you have a lot of different, and then you got good weather, you got the ocean, you got the fishing industry, probably even also. So you have all of these different sectors, right? And then you got wine country. LA, California has a lot of capital coming in it. And it's just, it's basically you gonna make money if you live in California, most likely. And the weather is great every day for the most part. So the actual cost of living is crazy. It's crazy competitive. I'm talking about now, right? And those things make up why it's so competitive to live. So it's so many gangs, so many people trying to extort people and all of that type of stuff. This ain't from what I say. I hear other people that have lived in LA and they complained about it. Like these people were actually right. They were seeing what was coming. Now you see, okay, all of these gangs and all of that. The grandchildren of the Great Migration people, the same with Chicago. Granddaddy and them died off, and their kids, grandkids, became gangbangers. A lot of them, became degenerative, right? Because basically all of the things that basically you could talk about that was being pushed on the black community, and then the black woman fell for it because she's so easily gullible, right? They're very, very gullible, very smooth brain. So she fell for it. She fell for the feminist trope, right? And then she's complaining about it in her old age that she was duped, but already the damage was been done. So these kind of upscale black people in Los Angeles, a lot of their complaints became actually true.
About this. They may not talk about it very often, but I certainly heard them shudder in church when he said there'd be a million Negroes in Los Angeles.
Because we were saying in essence, the majority of these people are not like.
And Kendrick Lamar used this in his video or whatever. This the first They Not Like Us. This is 1960. They Not Like Us. This is the first They Not Like Us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is tripped out, man. You can't make this shit up, man. God, dog. I gotta play that back. I gotta play that shit back, man. Hold on.
The majority of these people are not like we are. And we felt that maybe some of us felt we left the South because we were getting away from this problem. We are. And we felt that the majority of these people are not like we are. And we felt that maybe some of us.
I'm gonna do an edit, and I'm gonna put They Not Like Us, and I'm gonna put homie. He probably I don't know if he probably not alive anymore, but I'm gonna remix it. I'm gonna make that edit right there, and then They Not Like Us. Yeah, boy. He said it, boy. This is it's probably before 1960. I don't know, because they had to edit this video or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I gotta play this shit again.
The majority of these people are not like we are. And we felt that maybe some of us felt we left the South because we were getting away from this problem. We are part of this exodus too. But we are a little maybe embarrassed by the fact that here we're going to have a mass element come in that's going to create a tremendous social problem in the community, to which we find a great deal of difficulty in relating to.
Well, I don't want to sound like a do-gooder, because I really am not, and I'm somewhat of a snob. But I do think that with these people coming in who are not our intellectual equals, nor are they of our sociological bracket, they're not to be a handicap to us. They'll find their own level. Now, I do sound like a snob, but I don't mean it this way. But they're used to living a certain way, and they too might rise up above their origin, and might one day be our associates.
The whole tone of this meeting is we're setting ourselves up as little puppet Jesuses. We can't help anyone else until we help ourselves. The Negro has had two professions, his own medicine, dentistry, law, or psychiatry, and he's had the profession of being a Negro. And many of us have come out here to escape from this second profession of being a Negro. And we're out here a while and we're working in our own field, and then we find out that here these same problems are falling on the heels of 1,600 Negroes a month that come into Los Angeles. Now this gives us problems. It's our own view. It's our own identifying with these Negroes that are coming in with their carpetbags that causes us problems.
This is our basic embarrassment that we as Negroes have.
We want to live together, yet we want to sort of scatter to the far winds and live amongst white people. We are brought up in terms of this, that to have a dark skin, to be a Negro, there is something wrong with it. And if you take a child and raise him, a very impressionable child, and have him grow up in an atmosphere where your color of skin is something that is looked down upon, that there is something wrong with you, that you are not, you don't have the abilities of other people. Even no matter how much education, no matter how much training, etc. you have, a lot of these impressions stay with you. I feel that we have to search for a new image.
When I wake up in the morning, I don't look in the mirror and say, you are a Negro, therefore you will face life in a certain way. I see myself as a person just like all the people that I work with and the children that I deal with, and they're all people.
I've got to break in here. Yeah. I've tolerated this long. This idea of this consciousness of you've got to look in the mirror and face yourself to go through this bit about being a Negro is very nice. The individual, this concept was instilled in you before you could think. Right.
Oh, I don't
You see. And first of all, we have as a symbol in our community the white, straight hair, brown hair, as the symbol of the thing to strive for. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, except that it represents the very fact that we are talking about. The idea, the Negro in our society is a rejected child. There's no two ways about it. It's in Los Angeles, it's in New York City, it's in any place in the United States.
Man, he brought it home. Okay. So yeah, you know, you got those aspects, right, of you know, people that are, you know, lower class coming in from the Great Migration, right? My granddad was he was part of the Great Migration from Mississippi to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And he pretty much you know, he was educated, you know what I'm saying? And he had a business degree, and he took Chicago, he grabbed Chicago by the horns, and he hopped on it and rolled it on out. You know, became a millionaire entrepreneur, you know, amongst white people, right? Chicago was not like that, what you think, you know, it is now in the 60s. It was mostly white. The south side and the west side of Chicago was mostly white in the 60s. And a lot of the black people from the south moved up to the north, and the demographics changed, and the white people basically left and moved elsewhere. So I wasn't born, I wasn't alive when around that time. So Chicago has always been, in the south side and west side, always been black, because that's pretty much what I saw. I didn't see what my aunts and uncles and my mother saw. You know, I just primarily saw you know, Chicago being black, right? South and west side of Chicago. The white people live and still live up north, but the north side is more mixed. The north side is like New York. You know, I always tell people the north side is very similar. The north side of Chicago is very similar to New York. It's like multicultural. You can find everybody on the north side. You can find Somalians, Ethiopians, West Africans, South Africans. You can find every European, you know, country origin on the north side. So the thing is that there is a classism problem in America. Okay, there's a push to keep black people at a lower class. There's very strong evidence to support that the government is definitely trying to push you know, black people to be lower class. The thumbnail is this lady in the thumbnail is basically I am Chandler. You know, basically I am Chandler. She is a degreed therapist. Um, and I don't know where she's based out of, but she's trying to deal with some of the problems in the black community, and you know, the different problems that primarily black women have. She's try to kind of bridge the gap and trying to deal with those problems. She is, I believe, married. I believe she's married. So yeah, she's taking the internet by storm between her and the dude with the glasses. She's kind of taking the internet by storm because you know she is pretty popular. She's a looker, and then she's educated. She's a you know, basically a dual threat. She has the beauty and she has the intelligence. You know, so yeah, she's going trying to deal with the whole thing of her first viral video was talking about the you know, kind of ratchet culture, you know, that basically is being pushed, and we all see why that's being pushed. So let's see here. Let's see what's going on. All right, let's see here. All right, so let's see here. I'm trying to find that one video where she was talking about the ratchet culture and stuff like that. Because see, here's the thing: a lot of women, they don't like women saying anything. They don't like. That's why they do the whole pick me thing, because they don't like a black woman saying something, because you're going against the sisterhood kind of narrative or whatever. Um, so when a black woman, especially a good looking black woman, starts to speak, they hate that shit, because it's like basically you can't really like it's like if a man is saying that, oh yeah, he's misogynist, you know, he's this or he's that. They can't say that to a woman. They can't say that. They can't say that to a woman. But you know what? You know, it's like the thing is this, man. Um, to a certain perspective, the black man is God pretty much, or men are gods in a sense that we have to be above everything else because that's how society pushes us. What I'm saying is this, right? I have to be God, right? A God-like person, because if I go out and bust off and create a baby, I can't walk away from that baby. A woman can. She could leave the baby at the truck stop, the firemen fire you know house or whatever. You know, she could leave the baby at the hospital, she could leave the baby at the police station. um you know, men can't do that. Men have to be financially responsible, and then if we're just financially responsible, we're shamed to not deal with the baby or child physically or in present. So you know, basically we have to be gods, you know, and that's the position that you should look at. You should look at yourself in a aspect that you are powerful. You are a fucking god, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you have to be responsible. You have to be above, go above and beyond, because that society puts you that responsibility and that burden on you, and you can't handle it, and we are handling it. And from that aspect, that's why you probably know that's why I do have the mindset that I do have, because to be honest, I'm kind of used to it. In the Islamic culture, the man has to be the sole provider. You know what I'm saying? And when I got, pretty much when I started to really, really like, kind of be more kind of religious and stuff like that, and I, was listening to different lectures and on the Quran and different things, I was pretty much I had the full understanding. This is what this is. The woman's expectation is you are the sole provider. So this is not foreign to me. A lot of laws and a lot of things. See, if you really research history, you'll start to understand how these laws came about. A lot of these laws came about from biblical doctrines as well as Islamic doctrines. So, basically, the man is above the woman, okay, in a sense that he has to be the sole provider. He has to be the one responsible. Now, a lot of people, a lot of men and women debate on that, but the society, as it says, at the laws that are there for in front of us now, puts us in a position that we have to be like a god. We have to be sole providers no matter what. When we plant our seed, we have to be responsible for it. So I say be as such, because you have to be. And when you put yourself in that position, society puts you in that position that you are superior, because they're saying you are superior. You are the one that plant that seed, and you are the one that is responsible for that seed no matter what. You can't walk away, you can't do anything. So own that position, own that spot, and own it proudly. Okay, that's my masculine fucking speech for the fucking year. Like, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, society has put us in a position where we're gods, so be that. Because basically that's what society puts us in that position. We can't give up our baby. Not to say, I don't know. What men will do or not, whatever. Like, we don't have any rights, right? It's, my body, my choice when it comes to women. So basically, be that as the society has put you in a position. You probably never looked at it like that, because, basically, you needed me to help you form that thought. But I will help you form that thought. Society is putting you in a position that you're a fucking god. You have the fucking sole ownership of that child's financial responsibility and everything like that. So own that shit, and I'm not, and own it in a sense of also not dealing with certain women that don't respect that authority. If you the trick is having control and looking at yourself, as such, generator, operator, and destroyer. That's what, that's the kind of 5%ers terminology of God. In that aspect, generator, operator, destroyer, you basically, they put you in a position that you have no authority to walk away from that child. So I say to men, own that aspect, right? Own that aspect, and also choose better, choose wisely, right? So let me see here. I'm still trying to find this video where she did like the basically talking about, let me see. Let me see if it's something on YouTube. On here. And you know, the thing is, man, I like, you know what I'm saying, the aspect. I ain't gonna lie. I like that I like that aspect as far as, you know, I like being a man, you know. I don't have any other choice but to be a man. But I like the position of being the sole person, you know what I'm saying, that has the authority and whatnot, you know, and all of that. I love being a man, you know. I love being, you know, a fully understanding man, you know. And one of the things that I like about that is the fact that um, when you really understand who you are, you know, you really understand the power that you have, you know. Um, so from that perspective, I say own it, you know, lean into it, you know, lean into that shit, you know, and try to be, you know, very much as much of a perfectionist as you possibly can be. And if that means that you got to get on a flight to be perfect or be more perfect and get a better mate, that because you can't find one in America, have no qualms about it. Be an absolute fucking asshole about what you want out of life. Meaning, don't worry about what people think about you. Get the best outcome that you could possibly get. And then, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't disclose who I deal with, man. I'm James Bond when it comes to my relationships and my dealings with women. You have absolutely no idea if I who I'm dealing with, why I'm dealing with them. And you gotta understand, like, there's a thing with, you know, it's just one of the things about being kind of an influencer or fucking content creator. People fucking stalk your ass that you don't even know. Like, people that you think you done broke up with or whatever, you done ended things with, they fucking stalking your ass. And especially like if you have a ex-wife, or you know, you have you know, mother, baby mama or some shit like that, they just won't let go, man. And it's like, I don't understand that shit. But you know, I've done live streams on Alpha Widows, but it's like, yeah, when you have that type of scenario, you don't want your ex-wife knowing your fucking business. It's kind of hard to not, you know, you gonna spill the beans on some content. But it's like, man, this shit's crazy. These women are nuts, man. When you understand that you're dealing with a mental patient, you understand that, you know, you are a superior person, because you probably don't do that. Most men do not fucking do that. I would say most men do not. It is a lot of men that are mental patients too, but I don't stalk fucking women's social medias that I've been in a relationship with. When I leave them, I left them. Now, have I tried to double back and all of that type of shit? Hell fucking yeah. Okay, but once they say fuck you, no, I'm gone. I ain't worried about that shit, man. I mean, but you know, women, man, they can't let go. Like, and it's like, the funny thing is, they had an opportunity to fucking deal with you, but they didn't want to. They didn't know how to fucking deal with you, so they had to let you go. And it's like, you know, they just, yeah, man, because of that fact, I don't disclose in public my dealings with women and how I deal with women and all that shit, because it's like, man, you know, these women is fucking nuts, man. You know, and if you're a man that has high sexual mastery, you can't fucking deal with you can't deal with women like regular men, because you're gonna get women hooked on you. You know what I'm saying? That shit goes into 50 Shades of Grey and shit, man. Real quick, when you out here slanging and banging, you can't fucking just deal with no random woman. You know, that's a good way to have your fucking windows busted in, and that's a nice day. You know, shit, it could be worse. One of my homies, man, he married now. He used to deal with women like just whatever, you know, he used to go out there, and a lot of the chicks he choose be ratchet as fuck. Um, you know, and it's like basically uh one of the chicks he had dealt with, she broke out, she basically scratched up his car. Then another chick, she was Jamaican. The other chick he dealt with, she was Puerto Rican. He was drinking with her, and she fucked his whole car up. She fucked his ignition up. He had to get a whole new ignition module in his car because the bra ripped out his ignition module. And I'm like, man, you don't screen these chicks. And I'm gonna be honest with you. When you have friends, when you tell your friends some shit, that shit's like therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because you know certain people hold certain weight. And it's like when I told him that shit, that nigga about 2 years later, that nigga whole life changed. That nigga got married. That nigga got married, boy. I was like, God damn, what the fuck? Man, that nigga got married, boy. I was like, damn. Shit. Because the thing is, man, when you out here, you could be out here game goofy, man. Game the fuck goofy and out here doing stupid shit, chasing ratchets. And it's like, that's just, you know what I'm saying? People get the hint, man, and it's like, he finally figured that shit out, man. But he from the projects, so he moved out of the projects to the suburbs when he was like a teenager. So, you know what I'm saying? I can't blame the man. The thing is I ain't gonna lie, I do have a thing for ratchets too. I ain't gonna lie, a little bit. I've dealt with ratchet women, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It is a thing. But she's gonna actually go into it. I found something that I could, what I'm saying, talk about. You know, she's part of the black community sphere. Um, so she's up and coming. I'm sure she's got interviews and whatnot.
When I was younger,
Let's see what she's
I
talking
was
about.
teased for being too white. I mean, I talked proper from the way that I dressed to the way that I was, to the way that things that I was interested in, my friend groups. When I was younger.
I mean, she is a type of woman. She's the type of architect type of woman that I used to date. When I was in college, when I was pretty much dating heavy, she was the type of woman that I was trying to go out on a date with. I ain't gonna lie to you. She's like my archetype. She's the archetype of woman that I used to date. I used to take real serious or whatever. And I mean, hey, it is what it is, but the thing is that I have that same problem. I have that same dilemma because, I mean, I just did a service call, right? I did a week-long project, a network run, and I got paid good, man. Like, a lot of people be talking shit about me being a tech support dude. I ain't just no tech support dude, man. I'm cold. I'm cold with it, man. Basically I went to university for software development. So I know how to code a little bit. I know how to edit code. I even know how to do UX design for like iPhone and Android. And the thing is that I know how to nerd the fuck out like the best of them. And the thing is like the project manager. He was a white guy from like the East Coast, and we was talking for a week because we was doing a project. We was talking a lot, and he was the same age I was, and he was like, I told him all my story about me being a Boy Scout, a Cub Scout, and then being in the military. He was like, you whiter than, than a lot of white dudes that I know. It's like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I was like, damn, shit. But you know what, man? I mean, I told him my story about being in the group home. And I don't really tell too many people that story, but he was cool as shit, man. He was cool. That was like one of the best projects that I worked on in my 17 plus year career. Like that was like, it was top 10 for sure. And they paid me pretty decent. I was getting like $65 an hour, pulling cable, running cable. And you know, I do that, you know what I'm saying? I know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? The thing is yeah, we were talking a lot, you know, we were talking throughout the week, and we had a good chemistry. And the thing is like basically, yeah, I was in a group home for like 2 years, and I was around white people every day. I lived around white people, and that was it. After that, it was gone, dude. I can't, man. Like, I mean, I'll be honest. Like, it was motherfucking MTV Raps, MTV. We used to come home from school, and then we had to do our homework, and then MTV was on, and then I'm watching Nirvana and shit. I'm watching rock music. I'm watching Teen Spirit. Watching Nirvana and shit. It was like, yeah, it was over, man. It was over. It what, you know what I'm saying? I was gone. Watching motherfucking going to go see Pink Floyd concerts in 3D. I'm gone. I'm out of there. It's like Get Out, but not so dystopian, not so sci-fi. I was gone. I was out. I've been out. You know what I'm saying? I was gone, bro. Boat races, antique trips. I mean, I was out of there, bro. By the time I got back to my neighborhood, by the time I got back to Dalton, I used to just roam the streets, man, because I was outside. It was boring in the house. I wasn't a privileged kid like that. I didn't have everything I wanted in my house. Like, I'm an adult now. I got everything I have over the thing. Like, I have too much shit that I in my house. Like, and I got too much fun going on, right? So I didn't have that when I was a kid. Like, some kids had everything in their house. Like, they were spoiled as shit. Like, they had Neo Geos, Sega Genesis. They had all the toys. They had everything, they wanted in their house. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, I just had like basically Nintendo and an old ass TV that you had to turn the fucking knobs and shit. And it wasn't really comfortable in that house. My mom's house, my mom had a thing for old ass frames. Okay, I got a frame, but that's all I could pretty much afford at the time. My mom could afford at that time any house she probably wanted for the most part. In like, I would say, she had her pick at that time. She picked she liked old frames because the old frame houses were bigger. It was more room and all of that type of stuff. And my mom was kind of old fashioned, so she liked a lot of old fashioned shit. So the thing is that basically the house wasn't really comfortable. Okay. So I would be outside a lot. And outside in Dalton in the 90s, it was a lot of men, a lot of young men, So it was a lot of fighting. And I used to walk around, and I remember I was on the next block over, and it was some dudes that was like not from, because it'll be like, you'll be on a block with your friends that you grew up with. They live on the next block. And I remember it was some dudes that was not, it was from like somewhere else. And it was like, why are you talking like that? Stop talking like that. And I literally got in a fight with them because they was like, why the fuck are you talking like that? I was like, oh shit, I don't know why the fuck I'm talking like that. I'm talking like the fuck I want to talk like. The fuck you talking about? So yeah, I literally got into fights with I used to get into fights with a lot of dark skinned dudes, man. I don't know why the fuck I used to get into fights with a lot of dark skinned dudes, but it usually be like a lot of times like it'll be like situations where it'll just be like, I don't know, they just couldn't understand that shit or something. It would just be some misunderstanding. And I wasn't really good at really communicating how to, like, I wasn't good at conflict resolution. I had to learn conflict resolution over time. So, like, yeah, I used to get into fights, man, with people. I used to get in fights. Literally, I remember that for exactly like it was like 92 or 91. I was like, I got in a fight because, and I remember one of my friends, he was like, he used to point out that you talk different now and shit. And I'm like, damn, shit. I mean, what the fuck? Like, I mean, I'm talking like I'm talking, man. I can't help it. And it's like, it's like shit. That was it, man. It was like I was gone, man. I was out of there, bro. I still to this day, like, yeah, that's, I mean, I don't really, as an adult, I think it was pros and cons. I mean, I learned some things. I learned quite a bit, but yeah, man, I used to get in fist fights about that shit, man. Yeah, man, it was crazy. But that's Dalton, man. Dalton, you had to fight. I was thinking about that shit the other day. All the fights I used to get into. Oh man, it was crazy, man. It was Dalton, boy, Dalton. But I admit I like that because it wasn't a lot of shootings. People was just used to knuckle up. Shoot the fade. Like it wasn't no go get no gun and none of that shit. Some the older dudes was on that, like when they was in high school. It was some stuff going on. But nah, it was knuckling up, man. It was like, man, you had to fight, man. And it made a man out of you. You gotta understand when you grew up, it was a lot of people that didn't know how to fight because they didn't never have to fight. It's people that grew up, they did not get into that many fights, or they didn't get into no fights. And they are basically um wusses, pretty much wusses. But yeah, let's play this here from start.
Right. I was teased for being too white. I mean, I talked too proper as a way because I was interested in my. So, I'm used to not being one of them. Some of y'all are too. I had values instilled in me at an early age, mainly through action. My grandmother, especially, much more verbal with me than anybody else. But the values were instilled at a very young age. And then I believe that I have a natural calling and inclination to a certain way of being. I was drawn to this person, like these types of people and this way of being. And when I was younger, I didn't know that it was a good thing. I thought it was actually a bad thing because among other Black people, this was so unacceptable. So, from a very young age, you still using those tactics unconsciously because they get it from their parents. The kids are using these tactics of rejecting you, become adults. The way of being or the way the things that you say and believe become more clarified and complex as we get older. But this is showing up. This shows up when you're very young, and that was very not Black. Black people are the only group. Black women, especially Black men, have it too. I want to talk about women because they have the most issues out of all the people that have the issues. Black women have the support of a massive group that participates in ratchet behavior and ratchet thinking. A massive group. Now, white, Asian, and Hispanic clients, they got ratchet people, but they don't have a massive support system of ratchets.
Yeah, white America has a huge separation between their poors, right? Their poors, their trailer park class, they have a separation from it because they have a pretty concentrated form of wealth. So they separate from their poors. Black people do have some separation, but not much. White people have whole family trees where everybody is pretty much mostly wealthy, right, or elite. Black people not such. Even a Black elite, right? Their family primarily, they have some people in their family tree that are struggling, getting by, and even poor. And it kind of, those people kind of drag the family down, right? One person has to fund everything. Somebody dies, they have to pay for the funeral, right? They have to pay for, you know, Lil Ray to get out of jail. Um, all of those things drag the family down, right? Take care of children that, you know, basically Lil Ray and Neek couldn't take care of. White people do have that, but not as much as Black people. They don't have the wealth. Black people don't have wealthy families like that. It might be one person, right? It'd be one, right? You might have one person. Some families don't even have one person. It's like it's really, really difficult when you break down how difficult it is to compete in America from a financial perspective. And then especially if you're not really like, you could really maybe start, you could start your own like kind of family. Like, you could start your own elite family by educating them, being the family patriarch, having marrying good, right? Getting a good wife, and y'all both training your children and having a foundational and telling them about every fucking thing you could possibly think of. And they still won't have a hard time, but you can have a foundational family that kind of, you might have a situation where you might have a situation where you have some type of family where it's a legacy type of thing where, you know, it kind of lasts on. Now, you know, one of the things that I think about the Jackson family, the Jesse Jackson and his family. They said were like the Kennedys. You know, they were like the Black Kennedys, right? Well, I mean, obviously Jesse Jackson was crooked as fuck, right? He was he had to be very crooked. He had done some very shady and crooked things, right? Jesse Jackson, I'm pretty sure, is a CIA operative, no question. CIA asset. But you know, he had to ensnare himself, right, with you know, all kinds of, you know, you could say the tentacles of Satan, right, to be who he is. And you know, he got a pretty good children and grandchildren and stuff like that. His son, Jesse Jackson Jr. is, they really they really did a job on him, man. Man, they did a man, they was on his ass, man. They did everything they did everything they could to destroy that man. That man's still holding on. To, you know, he trying to hold on. But the thing is this, you can do it, but you got to understand that the opposition, right, is so intense. And one of the things that black people fuck up, I'll tell you where you fuck up. You have to align with Africa. Trying to be independent, you will be broken down. Trying to be independent, trying to do everything. Just think about it. What does everybody else do? And I'll say this time and time again from Memorial. You look at what everybody else do. Look at what you're trying to do. You're confused talking about your Indian and all of this other stuff. Where what everybody else do? What do white people do? What do they do? And what are you? What look? All you have to do is look at what you do, what the other people around you do, and they talk about and say, and what they do, their behavior, their interactions, right? And what other people are doing. Okay, what do you do? A black American, right? What do? You say, I'm not African, I'm Indian. You're programmed to say these things like a robot. I'm Indian. I'm not African. The Africans don't like us. Da, 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 da. Okay, so that's the programming, that's the brainwashing. That's what you're programmed to say and repeat. So that being said, you're brainwashed. Okay, step one, you're brainwashed. Step two, you got to recognize you're brainwashed. Then step three is get unbrainwashed. Step four is after you get unbrainwashed, you have to try get yourself to you know, get some type of reformation from you being brainwashed. And then after you become, you know, have that formation, you got to look and try to step outside the zone and realize you've been had. Right. Once you realize you've been had, you gotta bridge the gap of understanding that you've been brainwashed and you've been had. And then basically you gotta look at it like this. You gotta try to bridge the gap to uh basically compete like everybody else is competing. The Indians, what do? They tether themselves back to India in America. They communicate with Indians in India while they're in America, while they're in Europe. The white people in America, what do? They tether themselves to Europe, right? To Canada, right? To and basically trade and have alliances, so on and so forth. You have to compete just like that. If you're not competing like that, you're at a huge disadvantage. And that's why you keep losing. And you're going to continue to lose. And you're going to continue to be confused and brainwashed. So I suggest downloading what I just said for the last 5 minutes and playing it every day so you can fucking deal with the brainwashing. Because you're fucking brainwashed for sure. And if you're not competing like everybody else, that's why things are the way they are, right? Because you got to understand, you know, yeah, slavery was slavery, right? And the Africans did what they did, right? Well, you got to look at it like this. You still got to deal with these motherfuckers because that's your power. Those are your people. Just like the Americans look at Europeans as their people, you, whether you like it or fucking not, you got to look at these people as your people. and then they have to look at you like you're their people too. And if you punch them up, if you got to punch them upside the head, you do it. Have I punched Africans upside their head? Yes, I did. Did I punch foundational African Americans in their head? Yes, I did. If they, you gotta be, you gotta be able to express yourself, and if you gotta punch people upside the head, you gotta be prepared to punch people upside the head. And as long as you're able to do that, you can get you can get through to them. Because people understand a punch upside the head. Men understand a punch upside the head. Okay. And then also, if they can't, if you can't express yourself with conversation and get through to people, if it goes there, be prepared to punch people upside their head effectively. And then they'll get the understanding. They'll see where you you can get through to them one way or the other. So that's what you got to do. And white people have to do the same thing in Europe. The Europeans don't like Americans like that. They look at white Americans as dumb, lazy, fat fucks. But when they go to Europe, yeah, they don't get along. And Americans have to punch them upside the head, or at least try, or whatever. So it's not all, it's not all hunky dory. You just got to be prepared to deal with people. That's all. Now, is it difficult? I'm just talking. Okay, the actual doing part is going to be extremely difficult, but that's what you got to do, and that's what you're going to continue to lose until you're able to do that. Now, for the ones that are doing it, my hats are off to you. I'm trying to join you. You know what I'm saying? The search for who rules and such, and such, what I'm saying? My hats are off, But yeah, that's why that's why this, one of the reasons why things are the way they are.
They don't have the same support. That makes a huge difference. Because if you're going to be ratchet and Asian, especially, if you're going to be ratchet and Hispanic, if you're going to be ratchet and white, you can do that, but they don't have a safe space for you. You can do that, but you had to go away from the great way that rejects it. The Black community, the massive group, accepts it and nurtures it. It's totally backwards. Rather than sending the massive Black groups bring the ratchets. There's a safe space for them. Other groups don't have that. So it helps Black women to continue the behaviors. When they're confronted, you look like the minority because you are the minority that confronts that culture, that is counter Black culture. When you confront it, you're the minority and they're the majority. This is the only group, this is the culture where the ratchets, the ghetto, has the power socially. The nerds, the high value minded people. When I'm talking about high values, I'm talking about pro-social values. I'm talking about generosity, respect, honor, faithfulness, kindness. I'm talking about community. I'm talking about high value. And they think you trying to oppress them. It's interesting. You're so backwards. You think we're trying to oppress you. We're trying to free you. You're trying to be such an individual. You don't know how to be together. You think we want to crush your individuality? No, we're just trying to be a family. Come on. So this is the only group where the ghettos, the ratchets, got the power. Well, folks, it's about time that we flip the scales. Because you know what the reality is? We really are the ones. This is a call to action, I think. We really are the ones that have the power. We're really the ones that have the progress. We're really the ones that have the right mindset. We got to stop worrying about them and understand that we got to separate. I've been saying that, but it's time now. It's time now. It's time now. We got to separate. It looks on the outside like they're the ones that got the power because they're the ones that got the ears and the eyes on them. But it's really the mind. Don't be confused. We need to stop being confused about that. The numbers, the numbers don't matter nearly as much as in they got big numbers, y'all, but everybody's strength. But that's heart and it's spirit, and it's your spirit is aligned in the right direction. You don't got to be an engineer, right? But your spirit is aligned with the higher values. And those are the people that make the progress in society. The ratchets drown. But the thing is, we keep lifting them up and we keep giving them attention. We keep giving them energy and we're keeping them afloat. We are keeping them afloat. They can't do it on their own. Do you hear me? They can't do it on their own. We fund that. We click that. We look at that. And then we don't think that there's enough of us to really do anything.
You know, basically, I forgot to mention also, I mean, when you talking about going to Africa and all of that, I'm not saying go be, you know, basically a grimy African. I'm not talking about being a grimy African, right? I'm saying you need to look at it just like there's certain good things and bad things about capitalism. One of the good things about capitalism is like Alonzo Hall here. If you do have money, you make that $100,000, you get that $1 million contract, you get that $10 million contract, that $100 million contract. You reach out to people like Alonzo to get that UIL or get that insurance instrument to where if the worst case scenario happens, your family is covered. Your family doesn't have to start back from zero. You know, you got some type of structure to where, okay, how many black people have made money and lost everything? Or made money and didn't know about finance and basically had to start back to zero? Do I need to look for the Eddie Curry video, the Eddie Curry, the basketball star that was from basically my high school conference, that was everybody knew was going to the NBA, was already 7 feet in you know, as a freshman in high school, a 7-foot freshman, played varsity freshman year in all 4 years of his high school career, went straight to the NBA, to the Chicago Bulls, made millions and millions of dollars. People actually extorted him in Chicago. A lawyer tried to extort his baby mama. Baby mama didn't go along with it. He basically killed her. He's in jail now, still in jail. I don't know if he's still in jail, got out, trying to extort Eddie Curry. Eddie Curry gave a lot of money away, got basically preyed upon because he didn't know finance. And finance is something that you could probably learn within a year to 6 months. It's not. It might take a long time to actually, make certain mistakes and learn from them. But finance is something that you could take a deep dive on, and probably within 5 years, you could be pretty averse financially, have some understanding to make some moves. But people are programmed to stay away from that because it's kind of boring. I do admit to a certain degree. Some people are not really into it, and then people are brainwashed and programmed to not be into it because the elites are into finance, and people have this programming to not be into finance because, or let other people handle their finances, and then other people handle their finances and then basically take advantage of them. Then they're back in square one. They lost millions of dollars or they lost opportunities. Now the thing is this is what I learned because one of the wealthiest people in my mom's side of the family, he told me that, basically banking America is the financial powers of America is the banking systems, right? Banking systems, and also he reminded me insurance. Insurance is uh, a part of the financial arm of America. They all work in tandem. So once you start to understand investment banking, and insurance, and the financial instruments and tools within those, that's kind of the framework. Once you understand that framework, you move within that framework. Now, if you're working a job and you don't have insurance for your family, and you don't have some type of financial tool in case something happens to you and it goes back to zero, you just got to understand this. This is what you got to understand. And this is why every time black people actually die, not every time, but a lot of times when black people die, they have to pass a GoFundMe link on social media. So she's pretty much done with that video. Let me share this right here. And I can drop the link. You just give me the word. I mean, I got a little time. I gotta actually go help out. I gotta go help my uncle out in an hour or two. Uh, because he helps me out. Shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. I help who helped me out, man. Uh, so this reads in 2023, the uninsured rate for black people was 9.7. Okay, to compare it to 6.5% for white. So that's the uninsured rate. Okay, the uninsured rate for black Americans under 65 decreased from 20.9 in 2010 to 10.8% in 2022. The coverage gaps between black and white adults narrowed from 9.9 to 5.3 percentage points. Now that's Medicare or healthcare coverage, life insurance. They say over 50% of black Americans own life insurance. So among that 56% of black Americans who own life insurance, 14% say they need more than they have. Uninsured of the, I mean, 44% of uninsured Black Americans, a third, believe they need life insurance, but they don't have it. So here's the thing here. How can you, this is why Black people also, I do know this statistic without having to look it up. Black people, as far as inheritance, this is one of the reasons why Black people don't get much inheritance. So Black people have 44% of Black Americans are uninsured. They have no insurance. And I'm talking, and they don't have any assets to carry on either. So when someone dies, that's pretty much it. Like, they don't have any assets to carry on because they're in debt, they're broke. Then also they don't have insurance. So that's why little Johnny, little Leroy, little Keisha, they don't have any money because Big Leroy, Big Keisha didn't have any insurance. And then they also didn't have any assets that could be sold to get money. So the basically children are starting off with zero, no inheritance. And they have to deal with having to be grieving from their parents passing and still continue on with life. And you got to understand, these are the same Negroes, and I don't even say Negroes, but when I say Negroes, I usually say it because I don't want to say nigga. But these are the same Negroes that be on social media talking cash shit about all kinds of other foolishness when they don't have their finances in order. This is basics. This is financial basics 101. Get some fucking insurance. If you can't get insurance, get assets. Go buy that fucking bando. Go buy that fucking bando. Buy the house. Fix the bitch up. And then at least if you die because you got fucking diabetes and you can't get life insurance, or you got cancer, or you had cancer before, you can't get life insurance, you got something and you're fucking serious about, if something happens to me, I have at least some liquid assets that I can transfer to my children. I can put the house up for sale. I have a trust. I can put my property in trust, and I have something for little Leroy and little Keisha once I leave this earth. Like, those should be paramount in fucking default. Now, do you have to go to another state to get insurance? Okay, if you gotta do it, you gotta fucking do it. This shit is chess, it ain't checkers. But this is a fucking problem right here. And then because you fucking meatheads are fucking so brainwashed, this is so okay, this is 44% of uninsured Black Americans, right? 44% of us, right? So you could say statistically that's like half, right? So about what, 50 million? So about 25 million of us don't have insurance. So this is why the fucking police is so aggressive. This is why everybody's so aggressive on you. They kill your ass, and it's easy. It's an easy kill. Imagine if you're insured and you have assets and somebody kills you. Definitely the insurance companies, probably it was be an incentive for them to fucking go at the police and go at the judicial system, because they don't want to have to pay out for some cop or whatever trying to kill you, some race soldier killing your ass. But when you're damn near half of you are uninsured, you're fucking vulnerable to fucking be eliminated, and it just be like nothing. It's be no reprisal. Your kids don't have nothing coming for them. And then you add this to the mix. I know this fucking stat by heart. Damn near 58% of you don't even fucking own no property. And you just, you're fucking, you got your finger up your pinky because you think that having a nice apartment in a good neighborhood puts you at a particular social class or some shit. 58% of African Americans are renters. You don't even own any property because you think having a nice apartment in a nice neighborhood puts you in some type of elite class or some shit. And it's like, well, you're dumb, and you didn't know that you were dumb, because here's the thing: when you combine this and then also this, and you don't own any property, you don't have any assets, meaning you don't have a house that you could sell for profit, you're dumb, and you're being programmed and brainwashed to be dumb. So then basically you see why the GoFundMe links between these two right here. This is why the GoFundMe links are popping after people pass away, because you're programmed, you're brainwashed to be broke. These are one of the major factors why the Black America is so broke. These two right here. I can just I can just click this shit all fucking day. Go back and forth. And then you add, what's another one to add? You add the single relationship stats. What 50 Black community is what is the marriage, the Black marriage rate? And that's just the trifecta. That's just the nail on the coffin, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I understand it's fucked up. I just showed you the stat. The government is attacking us on a day-to-day basis and pretending that they're helping us at the same time. Now, don't get me wrong. So imagine this, right? So basically, over a third of us are not even married. So being single, trying to be head of household, which is very, very difficult. And you just add that to the mix. So boom. So bow, bow, bow. Well, okay, bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. Right? Like the CIA operative, Sexy Red. Bow, bow, bow. There you go. That's why we so broke. Bow, bow, bow. All right, hold on. Let me see. I was cooking, man. I wasn't really looking at the chat. There you go. Yep. So, I mean, you got to understand there's more stats that are, I could talk about stats all day long. But these three here, for sure, These are major reasons why the black community is how it is. Then you add unemployment rates, poverty rates, so on and so forth. You know, these are very impactful. Now, is it hard getting insurance? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Is the insurance industry racist? Yes, it is. I'll be right back. I gotta check on something. So it's raining a little bit. It's raining. But you gotta understand, man. Let me look up some shit real quick. Hold on. Here's another stat for you. So this is comparative with the rent rate, right? This is compared to this. So this is here you go. So let's all add it all up. Bow, 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 bow. So this is why the black community. This is why you know black women want to get with they want to get with white dudes and risk getting thrown in a fucking dumpster in the fucking dirt and all of the shit that they got to deal with dealing with them motherfuckers. They rather deal with that shit, man, because this is why this few of the reasons why the black community is so fucking broke, man. You know, these are the reasons, right? Black home ownership, 45.9%, less than half. But I mean, it could be better, right? Because this is a correlation between this and this. You gotta unbrainwash yourself to stop being a renter and be a fucking homeowner. Stop listening to these fucking idiots talking about you shouldn't buy a home. Stop listening to these big back, fat ass millionaires telling you to not to be like them. And they're already millionaires. And they got millions off of having insurance from their fucking parents. And they're telling you to be like them. And the thing is you're not a millionaire. That's where you getting this advice where you haven't found any understanding. You're not a millionaire. You didn't get no insurance check, and became a millionaire. You didn't get Master P. Master P. He started No Limit with his grandfather's inheritance. It was a small inheritance, basically an insurance check from his grandfather, and sold CDs out of the trunk of his car. Right, got a record deal. Rest is history, right? But you got all of these stats right here, and that's why the black community. One of the reasons why the black community is so fucked up. Now you do have a lot of black people trying to be, trying to make some money, trying to be capitalists, trying to, get some bread, trying entrepreneurship, trying to grind it out, trying to figure it out. A lot of people have figured it out. It's black people on the Forbes list, black people that have businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, few large enterprise businesses. Okay, I don't want to, what I'm saying, discredit those individuals that are competing, are doing what they can do, right? But this is why this is, right? But okay. I'm sorry. I got so many fucking things going on here. What's going on, Alonzo?
What's up,
What's
bro?
up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
All right.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I
Okay.
wanted to piggyback off of some of those numbers. So number one is the fact that black people, there's a Yahoo Finance article that says black people believe in the power of transferring generational wealth through life insurance more than white people.
Uh, I will believe it. I haven't seen it, but I
So
will
I
believe it.
I can't find it, but I have the article. But
Okay.
let me explain to you why. Black people for a long time understood and believed in the value of life insurance to pass down generational wealth. Here's the problem. We buy it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just like black folks buy shit like shoes and bras wrong too,
Mm-hmm.
right? For example, you got daughters, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if they've developed yet,
No.
but
No. No.
nah,
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say you can't turn around and have your daughter be a C cup, but you buy her a B cup bra and think she's gonna be okay. She's spilling out of the bra,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Now, what we do as black folks is we turn around and say, I need a triple D cup, but I'm gonna get instead of just 52 triple D, I'm going to get a 60 double D. Well,
Right.
that doesn't help you because you're a triple D. You
Right. Damn.
see what I'm saying?
Hey man, I the highest woman that I've been with as far as bra size, I was with a chick that was she was a H.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. No, I was like, man, I was sucking for days, bro.
Yeah.
man, I was like, God, dog, man. Oh my
Suck
God.
the tick, go around the world.
Man, she had H's, yo. All natural. All natural.
Yeah.
All natural, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
But so the average inheritance is 168,000. That's across race lines.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So when you look at these numbers, right? Like I said, my mother dated a white guy when about 30 years ago when I was like 10, 11.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you told me that.
Do you know what he said to her? He said, Gail, you have no idea the money that's in insurance. Because think about this, black folks will not get a bank account because it doesn't have FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance. But they'll turn around and live their whole life without insurance. Like you said, starting from square one, it doesn't help that
Yeah.
you have your children starting from square one.
Yeah.
We always talk this real estate shit, right?
Yeah.
And we're always talking about the fastest way to becoming a millionaire is through real estate. What do they call insurance? Estate planning. So real estate is just the physical property. You have to estate plan. Let's look at black folk who didn't get there. Chadwick Boseman. You wouldn't say he's not a millionaire, would you?
No.
Okay. You know when he died without a will and final testament and likely without life insurance. So the state of California had to decide who got his shit, his assets. Do you know what the state of California did? They said, we're going to give your mom $1.1 million worth of your shit. We're going to give your recently become wife $1.1 million of your shit. And because of that, we're going to take $1.5 million of your shit. That's $750,000 each that could have went to both his mom and wife.
Yeah.
That the state of California took to decide that they could get $1 million.
Because they had to do administration costs, court costs, and all that crap, and all
Well, so
percentages.
what happens is probate. So if you don't die with a will and file, so niggas who sell insurance don't do our whole job, and that's another part that pisses me off because people in my position come and fuck up our community.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They come and tell black people buy term, invest the difference. If you look at ownership of equities and mutual funds from quarter four 1990 to quarter four 2020, it shows that black folks ain't been buying term and investing nothing, right? Do you know the ownership of equities and mutual funds percentage by race since quarter four 1990? I'll give it to you.
I remember it from the live stream, 1%. Less than
1%. In 1990, it was 0%. In 1995, it was 1%. In quarter four 2020, it was 1%. So who the fuck are we investing in?
Keisha.
We're not even investing in Keisha. We investing in Louis, Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Mercedes, BMW.
Yeah.
But none of that shit is doing us anything.
Yeah, you know the tripped out thing. This is, I do stupid shit, and I think stupid shit from time to time. And I'm gonna tell you some stupid stuff that I was thinking about, right? So I'm looking at all my old pictures, and I even showed it on this live stream. The dumb shit that I was thinking about was I was in a fucking Benz that I restored and looking outside of my window at a Porsche, which is inferior to a Benz. I'm in the fucking best car that because I just was dumb at the time, and I'm looking outside at something that's lesser than a fucking Benz. I'm in the best car.
Damn, son, you just blew mine. Because I was looking at a Porsche.
I'm looking outside at a car that's has more problems than Mercedes Benz.
Yeah.
And is inferior to a Mercedes Benz. And I could have just been happy with my Mercedes Benz and moved the fuck on with my life. Not saying I would never buy a Porsche, but my whole point is I was in the best car already. Why the fuck am I looking outside of the Porsche? I mean, well, I like Porsches and I like the design, but in hindsight, I was already in the best fucking German vehicle.
Best car.
Why the fuck am I looking outside of the fucking Porsche like it's better than my Mercedes Benz? So
because it's more expensive.
Yes, no, Mercedes had their AMG line. It blows out the Porsche as far as the technology, engineering, so on and so forth. And I'm looking outside at a fucking Porsche, and I still want one. I still eventually will get one, but I'm saying I was already in the best fucking car. I'm looking outside the window at a Porsche, and I'm already in a Mercedes Benz. That was.
Well, you got to realize a lot of people do that, right? Because the Porsche is the exclusivity.
Yeah. Porsche is known for being a race car, kind of sports car, right? It's
because
branded.
Think of this.
Yeah.
If you get a Mercedes, see, I'm into Mercedes, so now I know the engine levels and shit. So I might be talking above niggas' pay grades, but you said it perfectly. Like most people in the States, especially black folk, we don't understand the difference between the letters and the numbers in our Mercedes and BMWs, right? Like I know this white guy who was in Europe, and he was driving around some chick, and she was like, "Oh, you're in a BMW 3 Series for Uber?" He was like, "Yeah, it's just a regular BMW. It's not an M Series," right? Because for most people outside of the United States, a Mercedes-Benz E350 is a taxi cab. You know why? Because think about what you hear. If you go to the black neighborhoods in America and you got a Benz, people are, "Oh my God, you're crazy. Why is it so expensive for this and that?" But it's reliable, depending on the model you get. Again, you get an E-Class, stupid reliable. You get a C300, pretty reliable, right? You get a S580, pretty reliable, right? But people don't even know which model to get. People don't know the difference between an E300, an E320, an E350, an E400, an E450.
Right.
They just know they see that 3-point/6-point star.
Right.
Right? So it goes back to, like you said, with the insurance. we're getting sold wrong. But you don't sell insurance, so how do you know you're getting sold wrong?
Right.
I sell insurance, so I know I'm selling you wrong. But I'm gonna get a big ass check. You see how it messes up for people?
Yeah.
Right? And the thing about insurance, I think I told you about Alonzo Herney. Yo, you need bread to be in insurance. Like the insurance is money.
Yeah.
I'll pause here.
But yeah, it's 44% of Black Americans are uninsured. That these stats do make up a bulk of a lot of financial problems that Black people have. I mean, all of these stats are the reason why the ghetto is the ghetto. Why like the things that I was stating before, such as the issues with Black people not having a wide berth of wealth, and not being able to really truly separate from the kind of ratchet class or whatever. They don't have the money to do that. They don't
Let me
have
give
the
you one more, right? Because we know who just came home, right? Big Meech.
Yeah.
Right? What did he come home to?
I'm not sure.
Nothing.
Oh wow.
Real rap. Yeah, Rick Ross gave him, let's say Rick Ross gave him $1 million. Right? But we all know that the reason he's making his rounds on social media is not because he did anything positive for the community. It's because he came home broke. That's why we know about Big Meech. Because it's not like he really did anything for the hood while he was making money. But now watch this. Right? I tell people all the time, Colombian cocaine cartel life insurance. Right? So the BMF, which was a multi-state organization, right? Had niggas in every state. You know how much money they made?
Millions, I'm sure.
279 million. Right? Now this is a multi-state 100,000 niggas operation, right? If you go to Operation BMPE, Black Market Peso Exchange, it's 5 motherfuckers from the Colombian cocaine cartel that got indicted for hiding $80 million of drug money in life insurance. But that's 5 heads, bro. One dude got caught for moving 13 tons of cocaine a week. Nigga, BMF ain't moved 13 tons the whole existence of their operation from the 80s. You see what I'm saying? So it's where we're putting shit. How are we hiding money? Because this nigga Big Meech should have came home to bread, not broke.
See, one of the things about I don't like about Black people in the syndicate, in the mob and shit, or the gang culture and all of that, is they dumb. They really they're really inferior, mentally. Because see, here's what the mafia does, right? And that's why the rappers and everything look up to, that's why
Everybody's name is Bumpy
John Gotti,
Giuliani.
John Gambino, Childish Gambino, John Yo Gotti, which I think he got picked up. I don't know. I heard he got picked up by the feds.
Jeez.
Yo Gotti, Childish Gambino, all of these mob names, right? Well, this is what the mob did, right? In a lot of different every culture has a mob, right? So how the mob became powerful was they knew they were meatheads. So them knowing they were meatheads, they would get people that were educated, like for example, Maya Lansky, I think, or one of them guys was a accountant by trade. They would
They
get
would use plants.
they would in the organization, they would have basically educated folk that was, like they had lawyers, accountants, and they would basically wash the money into legitimacy. And then now you have companies where it's legitimate companies, and then they can kind of still have the dark money or the black money. It's called black money, system D money, and they could move into legitimacy to legitimate businesses. Now these businesses, they're legitimately creating jobs for the locals. They're legitimately forming companies. And niggas and meatheads in the hood just want to buy old cars with $10,000 rims on it.
Nigga, I need my shell toes. What you talking about?
Go to the strip club and throw money and pop bottles. And
Right.
that's where the meat, and then talk down on educated people. Man, fuck you and your, you ain't my master. You not my master. Who fuck
Yeah.
you take your degree? I got more money than you, bitch. I take your degree.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that you hear online, and these people don't come at me. Okay, they don't come at me because I'm not popular yet. I haven't blew up yet, and then also I will shred these folks because I'm highly intelligent and I know why they're fucked up. I can go to the core of why they fucked up.
And
How
you
they
can speak their language.
I can speak their language. I'm around these people, and I'm gonna ask them, "What's your family life like? How was your, like, just like a therapist would ask you on the couch? So tell me about your mom. Tell me about your mom." And then they gonna understand because they don't want to talk about that, right? A lot of these guys, they have these platforms. They talk about this person and that person, this celebrity and this. How was your mother? What was your relationship like with your mother, sir? What was your relationship like with your father? See, you talked about those things. These other people, they don't want to talk about that. Nothing personal. You notice a lot of these people, and that's why they don't come at me, because I know what I know the things that they do. They don't want to talk about their personal business because it's not it doesn't show them of good character. It shows how vulnerable they actually are. They don't want to show any vulnerabilities. Now the thing
I
is,
wanted to thank you for bringing me on your show too, because Rael, he's always like, "Yo, it's fucking crazy. These men in this space, these black men in this space, we keep talking this money shit, but then when we bring you up, niggas get fucking crazy." And I was like, "That's because we're putting a mirror up to niggas, right? Like what you're doing right now, bro. A lot of black men ain't gonna be kicking with this. They're gonna be like, 'Oh, I make $80 bazillion, bitch,' da 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 da," because you're putting a mirror up to us. Because the reality is, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation if there wasn't more of us who are in the fucked up position as opposed to not in the fucked up position.
yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, yeah, it is a mirror, and I'm also taking risks. The things that I'm talking about because the powers that be don't want these things known. I'm, it's very deep. Like you said, and I said before, it's deeper than Nino Brown. The thing is that basically a lot of these guys are meatheads. They don't know how to legitimize the money. They're too ghetto. They're too culturally brainwashed to be ratchet and ghetto, and they can't legitimize. They can't put on the suit and actually be legitimate. So then basically they get caught up after the cars and the rims and all of that goofy shit. And then when they do try to legitimize business, they do it the ghetto way, and they do it dumb. They don't know how to properly do it, right? They get their shit and their girlfriend name, all that goofy ghetto, meathead shit, smooth brain shit that they do. They're easily caught by the feds, right? They have trained professionals, highly educated, accountants and all of that type of stuff on the feds, and they catch these meatheads. Then they get locked up, and then they wonder and they realize how they got caught. But the thing is the problem is, yeah, okay, I understand that the underworld does help undermine certain racism aspects and all of that stuff. That's why the mafia was formed. The Italians were not even considered European in their origin story in America. They were considered non-whites, but they had to legitimize them. Then the mafia, they helped legitimize themselves by warring with the other Europeans in America, right? And then they use black people to be to as an enforcer arm to do that, because there is a historical story between blacks and Italians. Okay, it's a history with blacks and Italians, and it's before America, right? It's before there was a thing called America, and they use black people to be enforcers, in America in their organizations. They never accepted them as being in the mafia, but they were associates and enforcers. Now the thing is that basically, yeah, black people, did have their own mobs, and they did legitimize things to a certain extent, and then also the mafia attacked them too. You could research the number runners in Chicago and stuff like that. But the thing is that yeah, that's what these people are doing. They're meatheads that are, basically they're okay with, they're just kind of being. It's
Well, I'm
like
gonna
they're
jump in
done.
right there. So you just gave the correlation between blacks and Italians and like the hierarchy of the mafia. Why do you think it is so many brothers run around? I'm a thug. I'm thugged out. I'm thug. That's a certain level in the hierarchy of the mafia. Right now, it's expendable and it's a throwaway. But black men never wanted to be more than a throwaway.
Yeah, you
Because if
just
you
said
look at it, there's thug, there's capo, there's the thug is the goon, it's the bottom. And what do black men? I'm the biggest goon, I'm the biggest thug. Well, brother, you're the biggest bottom on the totem pole. Let's get up to capo. Let's get up to boss for real. Let's stop being thugs or the throwaway.
yeah, you pretty much said it better than I did. You pretty much like basically a lot of and you see this in Chicago too a lot. You got basically whole organizations where they okay with being, the whole organization is thugged out. Nobody wants to actually be the capo or the don or whatever. They basically all want to be thugs, because that's what the brainwashing is for. That's what the music is for. And then they look down on the corporate suits, the corporate executives. They say, oh, this is just a white boy in blackface or whatever, because that's also brainwashing. And it's like, yeah, it's just a big clusterfuck. And it all roads lead into dysfunction. And this is why, it's why you have whole hoods where everybody all ghettoed out. And the mafia, I'm gonna tell you something, the mafia that you did, well, you kind of said, but what the Italians did, they had a class about themselves, right? They didn't want the whole community to be all thugged out. They didn't see. This is why I never respect the gangs. I'm talking to all the street gangs in Chicago and even other street gangs, because the mob didn't allow their neighborhood to look like shit, to look like a fucking dump. They didn't allow dirt, fucking dirty streets and fucking garbage everywhere on the fucking landscape. They didn't allow that
They
shit.
also didn't allow others to open up shop in their neighborhoods.
I was gonna go there exactly. They didn't allow that. So this is why I have a superior mindset when I look at certain Negroes that are in the street culture and are moving certain enforcement
Certain ways.
in the neighborhoods, in these ghettos, because
Mhm.
I understand the games, and I know they're not playing the way that this should be played. And the thing is, and also the mafia, that's why they didn't want to push drugs, because they knew what the drugs was going to do. They knew the drugs was going to mess up little you know, Guido and little, you know, Anthony and all of them, they was gonna be strung out. Their girlfriends was gonna be strung out, and their family was gonna
Yeah.
be strung out. But all of this shit, right? All of this degradation. The mafia, the Italian mob, did not want this, and they didn't have this like that. They didn't
Right.
have low class. See, the problem I have with the black community in the hood and the ghetto, okay, your underworld activity, why does it have to be all fucking ghetto? Why does it have to be grimy and dirty and fucking nasty? Let me play it. I don't want to really play
Yeah,
this.
play this clip.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see here, man. I was watching this video today. This is a Florida dude. Okay. I mean, I get the griminess and the craziness and all that type of shit of the ghetto. I understand it, but and I'm not gonna play this music. I'm gonna just actually mute the music and I'm just gonna play the video. Um, I saw this yesterday. I'm gonna just play. I'm gonna play this video. I'm not gonna play the music. I'm gonna just play this video here. And I want you to see, this is like, I think this is a Jacksonville dude or a Miami rapper. See, because sometimes when I watch my when I use my phone, it doesn't sync up with my history on YouTube. Let me see here. Let's see. What's dude name? Let me think of what dude name was. Give me 1 second. Let me get my phone real quick.
Take your time. Taking me a little morning walk.
They had a code of standard and ethics. They had a code of standard and ethics. You know, the black community doesn't have that.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot that goes behind that. One of those things is the lack of the fathers. So, we don't quite know how to organize as men. Because if you look at it, we run into these street gangs, and these street gangs are really a bunch of little boys because they're not listening to the unks or the OGs, right?
Yeah.
OGs and our stuff is just the old geezer. It really ain't original gangster.
Yeah, they had Dons were the old gangsters that were refined and they knew how this shit was supposed to work and all of this. So I'm gonna play this here and I'm gonna mute the music. I just want you to notice the background. I just want you to look at the background. Wait, hold on. Let me I think this is Miami because I've been to Miami, so this looks like it's Miami. It's a Miami rapper. So hold on. So let me see here. So this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. And the father is, man, I gotta pull that stat too. That's a major stat that you just mentioned. But let me play this real quick. I just want you to see. I want you to see this. Okay, that's Miami. They got wild. It's the Spanish. It's Spanish had wild chickens. They left them over there, and you see the same thing in the DR. Okay, he's standing in front fast, right? So he's crazy, right? Look at his eyes, right? He's saying I'm crazy. This is a guy that's it's a bipolar rapper, right? He's around a bunch of grimy ghetto-ness, dirtiness, and he's trying to survive. He's saying, his verbal representation is saying I'm crazy and I'm dealing with a lot of craziness, and it's like, look at, it's just, I mean, I get it. I get the struggle
See,
and
I see
all
a
that
lot of
type of
hurt.
stuff.
Right? When I look at a lot of these scenes where
You see
it's
hurt.
900 niggas pointing guns at the camera and shit, and their eyes bugging out, and everybody throwing up 4s and B's and C's and G's and W's, I realize that's a lot of hurt because they have no outlet.
Wait,
Right?
hold
Like,
on.
look at how trashy that shit is.
Yeah, I was just seeing that. Like, wait, hold on. They tried to they trying to move it fast. Because it is, wait, hold on. I'll get it right here. Wait, hold on. Right there. There we go.
Yeah.
They didn't even clean up the area before they filmed. Saying how long would it took to pay somebody to clean up, get a garbage bag and clean
They
this
could
shit
have
up,
gave a
right?
fiend one rock.
This is what I'm talking about. This is Chicago.
Yeah.
One rock, yeah. Not even a $10 rock, a $5 rock. And
Yeah,
they cleaned all
they
this shit up, right?
hell yeah. In 20 minutes. That shit
About
would have
10
been
minutes.
sparkling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Moved all of it. So the thing, this is Chicago. Do you gotta understand? I could show you whole areas in Chicago on the west side and the south side where, basically this is the type of stuff that's going on.
But now I'm
And
gonna
it's like,
flip this on its head. And I'm gonna show you why. That's Miami. I'm gonna use Chicago too. But that's Miami, right? Miami is a small city. My brother lives in Miami. I went to go visit him in Miami. Now, just like everywhere else has got their hood and their good parts, black people are acting like we're only relegated to the bad part. And this includes you and I. Right? Now, we're not saying that we're only relegated, but what's only focused on by the vast majority of black folk is this dirty shit. We're not focusing on the fact that, like, folks like my brother are living in Coral Gables or fucking Key Biscayne, which is still Miami, but it's not, the M.I.A.O. But where do you think the yayo is coming from? Who do you think this nigga is selling yayo to? Ain't nobody in that trashy ass hood buying enough yayo for him to buy a candy painted slab.
Right.
So he got to go to Coral Gables. So I guess what it is a ploy to scare people who don't encounter this stuff a lot. Because you and I, like even Chicago, you and I right now through Chirac and the worst gutter, we could walk through and be unscathed. Now we might get spoken to because we have a certain skin tone. Somebody might be like, "Hey, who you with?" But if I be like, "Yo, I don't know nobody. I'm just passing through," ain't nobody really gonna bother me, right? But if I try and go get in the mix in Jacksonville and Miami and Chicago, shit, here in Connecticut, that's where the trouble comes from.
So this is why the black community is an eyesore. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, these are our issues, right? So this is why it's a lot of issues, right? So this is this situation is in Gary, Indiana too. This is in South Side, West Side of Chicago. This is even in some of the black suburbs. You got trash outside. So imagine, okay, the trash is outside, right? Imagine what it looks like inside these houses, right? Inside these houses, right? Imagine how nasty it is inside there, how fucked up it is outside, right? So this is the
Probably
gutter.
smell like fried and everything.
Feet, fries, weed and pussy, right? Or badussi, This is what these guys got to deal with, man, and you got to understand they dealing with it, and Miami is very, very gutter. Very, very gutter. You have to be very, very thorough to deal with this type of environment, you know, and it still might not be enough for me. But the thing is you try to tell these guys this, they're not gonna listen to you. They like the filth. The reason why they like the filth is laziness. Okay, one of the things about the Italians you can't overlook is the Italians are fucking Catholic. My mom was raised to be Catholic. My grandfather was Catholic. The Catholics believe in the 7 deadly sins: greed, sloth, lust, gluttony, and sloth is laziness. This is lazy, slothness, not being able to clean up all of this. Let me look up the 7 deadly sins. I always forget that shit.
Envy.
I am not Catholic, but I do agree with the 7 deadly sins. I do agree with that. So when you look at lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride, okay, these people are not prideful for sure, because a prideful person is cleaning up this. Matter of fact, I gotta leave here to go clean up my grandma's property because there's stuff all over the place. Because my grandparents, they left a lot of stuff in the backyard. My grandma passed away. My grandfather passed away.
My condolences.
Oh, no worries. That stuff is in the backyard, because see, a lot of black people have mental problems. And when you have mental problems, you start to clutter. Clutter starts to build up because your brain, it thinks how it thinks. And if you got stuff all over the place, the mind is cluttered. That means your mind is cluttered. This is what I used to tell my nieces. I used to tell my niece, your room is messy. That's going to reflect your mind. Your mind is messy. So when you go outside and you see all of this clutter and all of this junk all over the place, and this is Gary, Indiana too. This is like this in Gary. I can go right across the street. It's like this because it's abandoned houses. It's a lot of abandoned houses in Gary, Indiana. It's some on my block. I've reached out to people trying to buy the property or try to wholesale it and all that crap. I mean, my endeavors have fell flat, but they'll eventually be sold from taxes and all of that. But the thing is this: it's a lot of mental illness in the black community, and the black people are very, very mentally ill. And this is mental illness. When you have all of this clutter on the floor and people are okay with that and they co-sign it, and I understand this very much might be the house next door, and then they're doing all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, this type of thing don't go on like that. In other communities, they don't allow this shit. In the cities, they supposed to have codes. Like even in Dalton in the 90s, if you had trash on your property, if grass grew too high, they would give you a fine. And you'd have to go to the court to pay that fine, or the city building office to pay that fine. And if you didn't pay the fine, it will go higher. And then if you tried to sell your house, you have to go settle out that they will put a lien on your property for that fine. And that type of stuff goes on when you got whole cities that don't give a fuck. Like Gary doesn't have nothing like that. They don't have they won't give you no fine. They might give you a fine if they catch you on the roof trying to do work without a permit or stuff like that. But you can, they don't put fines. One of the things about neighborhoods, they have that. One of the things about higher tier neighborhoods, they have a fine system that works. And that fine system keeps people up to code. Because if you let people do whatever the fuck they want to do, that's what they'll do. And yeah, do you have anything else that you want to say? I'm gonna have to step out,
that home ownership shit is crazy, but that's another thing. That code and that enforcement happens because a lot of those dudes don't own those homes. So that's
Yeah,
why a
but
lot of
see,
that shit don't get enforced. Shit crazy. But yeah, I'm done.
so I mean, the thing is, yeah, okay. Yeah, I appreciate it, broski. I'm sorry, I wish I had more time, but I gotta go actually. It's just crazy because see, one of the things I like about myself and I like about you, we don't just talk this shit, we actually doing it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We're actually in action. I actually gotta go clean some shit off my grandparents' backyard right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta go help my uncle out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not just talking this shit, and I'm living this shit. So
Facts.
yeah, appreciate it, bro. Have a good
No
day,
doubt,
man.
brother. Salute.
Salute.